cowslips popping up all over the farm. We grew them for seed years ago and now they're everywhere. And forget-me-nots, we have them in the beds, but they escape into the nettle patch. It's very early in the morning, well, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning, and the crabapple blossom looks lovely against the dawn sky. I'm very fond of dead nettle as a cut flower. Makes a lovely cut flower, lasts about a week in a vase. We have it everywhere, including in the back door pots. Sometimes, if you're ever missing your mojo, it's worth looking at a project and reminding yourself why you do it. So let's have a walk around Common Farm and see what we can find wild. Because the point of what we do here is to run a business from a small patch of 7 acres where we make an environment where the wildlife get first dibs. So let's go and see what we can find, and particularly look at wildflowers. It's mid-April and my dad's not very well, and so I'm feeling a bit sixes and sevens about that, and it's hard to concentrate on work. So it's 7:30 in the morning. Let's go and have a little look around the garden and remind ourselves why we do it. And if you're new to the channel, you're very welcome. Please do subscribe, press the bell icon, and I'll tell you we've got more clips coming up. And if any of the tips and tricks we give you along the way are useful, you can always buy me a coffee, or better still, join my club. The blurb to all my clips has links to coffee buying and club membership. And do make a comment. We always answer all the comments we get on YouTube because we value them. On we go. Fabrizio puts bird boxes up everywhere. I'm not sure any birds live in them, but from the sound you can see that they do live nearby. I thought of doing this clip yesterday when I spotted this patch. I'd had a sort of frustrating time and was feeling a bit overwhelmed, and I came up here just to have a walk around, and I spotted this patch of bugle, which is in full flower and is about, I don't know, 10 square meters of it, just spreading across the woodland floor here. It's amazing forage for bees, and such an amazing, gorgeous purple hugging the ground. The forget-me-not here grows everywhere, and I love the way we have some white popping up as well as blue. This little person is, I think, Herb Robert. It's a little wild cranesbill. It might be shining cranesbill, but I think it's Herb Robert. And this too is growing on the woodland floor here. Little pink person there. And the little wild primrose, we don't have carpets of it, but we have it dotted about the place. You have to look. That's the nice thing about wildflowers. It's really worth going out into the countryside, wherever you are, and seeing what you can see, actively looking, not just mooching along, but actively looking. Very calming. Here is, it's an American wildflower, Kassia, and when it flowers it's a lovely blue, and here it's just coming. And somebody put a comment somewhere, and I can't find it anywhere, saying what do I do about them leaking blue ink when I cut them? And I think the skill is to avoid, I mean, because the stems are clean of leaves anyway, so avoid stripping the stems, and then they hold up very well in water for me. And here's one just coming into flower. I put my hand behind so that it comes into focus, not because my hand is particularly beautiful, but then you can see it. If I take my hand away, it goes out of focus. The sun's up. Will we have dry weather today for the first time in I don't know how long? There's my studio, my new studio. I'm not in yet, and the reason I'm not is it's too wet. It's been too wet to dig the trench to join the drains up with the other drains. Look, a little vetch. It's a pea. And can you see the ants working it? There'll probably be, yes, look, aphids. So if I put my hand behind, you'll be able to see, look. The ants are farming the aphids for their honeydew, which is basically the sweet wee which the aphids wee out, having sucked some of the sap from the plant. So the ants are encouraging the aphids. And this is called a food web in action, and we are part of that. So we don't get rid of them, we encourage them. And this is the little vetch, the flower, very pretty little pink flower, which is not quite out yet. Just walking through this arch, Fabrizio made it out of hawthorn hedge. The slugs have had a rave up with the narcissi this year. Look, more Kassia coming out. Oh, and look! See that pink person there? That's wild Campion. This green, shiny green leaf here, that's aster. That's an aster for the winter, for the autumn. But here is lovely. There we go. Great colour. Fantastic cut flower, oddly enough. You may be surprised to hear. Campion cuts really nicely. This is early. This is normally May for me. But you get nice tall flowers, lovely colour pink. More cowslips in the meadow. I daren't walk over the meadow for fear my footprints will remain and I will have trodden on a wild orchid, some of which are protected by these circles. Now I'm looking, oh yes, you think, where is the orchid here? Where are the orchids? Well, there. Those pointy leaves. There. So Fabrizio's protecting them. Or rather, making sure we know where they are with the little willow circles. More orchids. This time they're spotty. And these are coming up everywhere. Once you see one, you see there are many more than we've got surrounded by circles. Lots more cowslips in the Gilly orchard. And these exquisite creatures with their hanging purple bells are snake's head fritillaries. And the snake's head fritillaries are mostly purple, but sometimes you get a white one. And this is a long project, establishing wildflowers here at Common Farm. We've been here for 20 years and we have been doing this since slowly since we've arrived. Look, orchids here in this orchard as well. There are the polytunnels the other side. I'll show you close up the snake's head fritillary. Can you see the extraordinary checkerboard effect on the petals? They are, I mean, that's a great relief, I think, when I'm feeling stressed and I see the maths that nature does without my having to stick my nose in. I feel as though I have perspective, and I don't feel as though I matter, and therefore it's a relief. This clump of leaves will be meadowsweet in high summer. Tall, sweet scented, creamy coloured fluffy flowers, spikes of flowers. Fabrizio's a keen maker of ponds, and where you see bits of metal left, that's somewhere for when the sun comes out, that's somewhere for the grass snakes to warm up. And look, more snake's head fritillaries. Fritillaria meleagris, if you'd like the Latin. I mean, really, what else in life do you need? How exquisite. And there, Kingcups, they've nearly finished, the yellow. Kingcups flowering in the pond. More of them once you get your eye in, you suddenly see they're all over the place. And here are the fruit trees we planted in the winter. We planted 25 trees this winter. And it's like Fort Knox to keep the squirrels off. I think the thing about planting a tree is it reminds you you're not planting a tree for yourself. You're planting a tree for your future. In my dad's life, he's planted I don't know how many trees. And it's nice to think that the garden in Cambridge where I grew up, the garden where they live now in Cumbria, and his influence, the garden here at Common Farm, there are trees that wouldn't be if it weren't for us. And they're not for us. It'll be people in the future, I hope, who can really make the most of the landscape we've worked on here. When we're long gone and forgotten. The white blossom in the tree there, that's blackthorn, and the weather's been so cold because it's called the blackthorn winter. When the blackthorn flowers, it's always freezing cold. So if you have a project that you work very hard on and that's really important to you, but sometimes it feels overwhelming and there's so much to do, and family life and work life and everything, you feel torn about by it all, it's really worth going outside and just go and look at your project and remind yourself why you do it. It doesn't matter if Common Farm Flowers makes loads of money. It really doesn't matter. We've done a good thing here. When we came, there were no wildflowers, and now look, and we're only the 9th or 10th, 8th, I don't know, something like the 9th of April. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. And I hope if your mojo is missing, I hope a walk around whatever your project is will remind you why you do it and reassure you that you're doing a good thing. Oh, look, bluebells too. I grow these in a bed for cutting, but they are the wild Hyacinthoides non-scripta, the wild English bluebell, grown on purpose.